The fireside chat panel will start now. I am glad to announce the amazing Ralf Haberich will continue as a moderator for the panel discussion. The panel will be joined by the beautiful Reshma Nagpal, who is the founder and CEO of EB, global multi-channel end-to-end web commerce platform. Emre Ekmekci, a president business development. He's responsible for new venture identification and continuous improvement within the group. Let's welcome them onto the stage.
Stage. Happy to be here. Can you hear me loud and clear? Yeah, okay. So we're having this fireside chat without any fire, but it's still with all the lights, it's warm enough. I was asked to do the moderation of this panel and in parallel check what the Twitter feeds are, and maybe you have some questions that I would be then able to ask the fireside members. There are two reasons why I'm not doing this, because A, I want to focus on my guests, and B, I don't believe in multitasking for male people. So if you have any questions, I can still see some of you. Raise your arms, please, and then shout out your questions, and we will be happy to start an interactive chat as well. To my left, to your right, is Reshma, sitting, the CEO and founder of EB, an Indian-based company, acting globally, acting in the full scope of commerce situations. And to her right is Emre. He's the director of business development of the Dogan online group. So he's the local champion, I would say, while we have also kind of an exotic Indian guest as well. I think that will be a very nice crowd to have. I have some questions, as I said. Feel free to also interact with us and start the discussion. But my first question directly would be, ladies first, to Reshma. I read in your CV and in your discussion I learned that you have even more than 20 years of experience. That means A, you started around the age of 5 years doing the business, and it means B, you have a lot of things to tell, you have a lot of experience. So why is it that it's still kind of a fascinating economy to you? What is still the biggest achievement that you're aiming for?
Firstly, appearances can be deceptive, but our journey goes back, I would say, to educating the economy and the industry when it comes to how to automate your processes across different needs. So we started through the ERP space, which is more the horizontal practice of retail, standard practices that businesses needed to automate. Then, of course, as the years moved on, we moved into the store perspective, understanding how to educate retailers on automating their store practices, from your inventory management, point-of-sale systems, connecting with the consumer. Of course, with the shift of power of technology into the consumer's hand, today the focus is all about empowering business to engage effectively with their consumers across different channels. So our growth as a company has gone hand in hand with the industry and with the economy to empower the enterprises that we work with to understand how to effectively take their business to the next level and to cater to the consumer demands across the different channels. So it's more of an evolutionary journey that we have seen over the years, and we're there to support the businesses as they go through this very interesting and exciting journey.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Emre, you, as I said, as I introduced you, the local champion, so being around Dogan and Turkey quite a lot, gaining many years of experience as well. I think everybody's interested, especially in talking about investing in areas and thinking across multifunctional assets, what that be. So how do you start growing your assets around Dogan Online Group, especially maybe the e-commerce department with Hepsiburada?
Well, yeah, in e-commerce under Dogan Online, Hepsiburada is the biggest asset. And it's not only our biggest asset, it's Turkey's biggest e-commerce asset when it comes to by far in all of the numbers. So we're very much focusing on Hepsiburada, not only necessarily to grow Hepsiburada itself, but we feel the need that we need to champion the growth of e-commerce in Turkey as well, because it still is close to 1.5% of retail market, and it's nowhere close to the more growth economies. Right? So that's the investment that we're looking is to, through Hepsiburada, growing Turkish e-commerce.
Okay. Talking about Hepsiburada in detail, I mean, it's such a huge and massive market leader in Turkey. Of course, I think everybody in this room also is excited to hear and to learn how you got to those steps. How did you achieve this? And maybe if you're willing to share this, maybe you need to kill us afterwards, but give us some secrets.
Sure. I mean, I mean, there's the first mover advantage, obviously. I mean, we've been around for 13 years, but it's also we're the only. I would say we're the only multi-category, the real multi-category player in the market. So you can buy anything from winter tires to diapers to electronics, and it's the further on the consumer's needs is, I think, got us where we are, and that's really is going to take us further as well. It's in e-commerce, as you know, the brand recognition and people's trust is also very, very important, and we've held that flag really strong over the last 13 years. I mean, we are very much customer focused, and will continue to be there. I think that's the key.
Okay. Reshma, what would you say from, let's say, maybe from the Indian or the more global perspective? What are the today challenges that an e-commerce supplier might have and maybe is not aware of already?
Okay. So I would say more than putting it into an e-segment, it's commerce in general. So it's taking the understanding to say, how do I reach the consumer extent that I'm looking to reach across different channels? So commerce is commerce. Maybe you're having brick and mortar stores. You may be having a mobile channel. You have the online devices. You have social. You have kiosks. You have so many different touch points for a brand to engage with the consumer. And I'd say the primary challenge that businesses are having today is understanding how to actually come up with a consistent engagement strategy that utilizes all of these touch points to give a true message to the consumer to say, here I am, and I know you. I understand you. So it's about personalizing that experience and utilizing every single opportunity to engage effectively. So what you would like would be very different from what I would like. But as a retailer, if I am empowered with a consistent strategy and technology across my different channels, I can effectively engage to a level that gives stickiness for a consumer to the brand. So we're not just looking at discount strategies, which is there, you know, especially in the Indian market, it is very strong to build market share. But what happens tomorrow when somebody else comes and they give a bigger discount? You need to ensure that that stickiness of the brand service is of a far higher importance to the customer than discounts. And that's where the engagement strategy comes in.
Okay. Backstage, the three of us, we've already been discussing about the e-commerce challenges in general, that I think we come to an agreement that Hepsiburada and Amazon, etc., are not e-commerce companies, but they're logistic companies. So, especially in India, how will that be covered and solved?
$1 million question. But in India, to be honest, it's a golden opportunity, because once the infrastructure and the logistics fulfillment get to a level that can truly cater to nearly 1.3 billion of the population, it is a fantastic forum to expand your reach. So, you know, we were discussing that you can have the most fantastic looking website. You are able to have a very efficient call center service. But if the product does not get to the consumer in the time frame that they want, that whole brand stickiness stands a risk of being lost. So the opportunity in India and more of the growth markets is phenomenal. But we have to come together to collaborate and provide the right avenues to ensure that infrastructure and logistics are actually being focused on. Because it's not only the big loophole today, it's the biggest opportunity that, if got correct, provides a fantastic forum for national and international companies to cater to that population. So there is a lot of synergy being enhanced with the government and other B2B enterprises to take the right steps towards this effective integration. So I, like you, hope that this does remain the focus and we do take proper action to fill this gap.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a, let's say, logistically a bit more advanced market like Turkey, how do you cover with these logistic challenges?
Even in advanced markets, I mean, if you consider, compared to India, we could consider Turkey as a more established logistic market. Consumer demands are are very much high when it comes to the delivery promise, right? Because in the nature of e-commerce is you buy something that you can't really see at that point, you can't really touch at that point, and until it comes to your door, you open the box and you see it, the anxiety level is very much high. So one of our biggest investments for this year, next year, is actually building a fulfillment center that's purely focused on e-commerce fulfillment. Previously, warehouses and logistics centers are built to move boxes or pallets, not necessarily individual items. Mm-hmm. So we're looking to do this at a much more cost-effective way, so we can actually ship products within 20 minutes, within 40 minutes, and even within Istanbul, we can probably, we will be able to deliver to our customers within the hour if needed. And I think this is what we would need to grow the e-commerce market share, because we would have to do something to disrupt the general retail if we want to grow e-commerce. And what we're looking to do is share this fulfillment capability with even other e-commerce players as well. Because I think there's not room for competition in a market where we all have to hold hands and grow the market. Mm-hmm. So we are looking to share this investment with our competitors even.
I experienced Istanbul as being a very traffic-heavy city, so delivery within 1 hour, that's definitely a promise that I think everybody would really be excited to have.
There are ways you can do it.
Right. There are silent roads somewhere.
And as you know, I think it was the CEO of Haberich that mentioned that even Amazon is a logistic company. So I think you have to be a logistic company first, and make sure that you can deliver all the stuff that you have on your fancy website before you can actually you can focus on anything else. Because otherwise it doesn't matter. I mean, otherwise you just sold a click. That's it.
Right. Mm. Being responsible for the business development, and you were touching on this, the e-commerce dilemma that you cannot see, haptically experience the products that you're trying to buy. Was there ever a thought of opening kind of a showroom for Hepsiburada or other companies to at least let people feel what you have?
It is one of those $1 million, $billion questions.
That's why I'm asking.
Whether e-commerce players should actually go down to physical. We do have one of Hepsiburada's subsidiaries, Altıncı Cadde, is a home decoration, home fashions vertical, and they do have stores. They have 2 stores currently, and that is a business model that we're actually trying to see what the dynamics needs to be. But moving Hepsiburada into that domain needs to be really well thought of, because if you don't do it right, you have 13 years of your brand image that could be tarnished in seconds.
Right. Looking at it from another angle, Reshma, how could a brick-and-mortar company, an offline company, move into the online world? What would be the first steps you think are really needed to gain some success?
Okay. So I would say first, you have to understand who's your market. Now, if I take India as an example, you have such a vast array of different types of customers that you have to touch to. Now, if you're looking to expand into the tier 2 and tier 3, going online is a prime opportunity because you avoid the heavy real estate costs. Sometimes it's not possible to have the locations where you need, and having a population where majority have a mobile phone in their hand, that's an immediate reach to that customer base. So as an offline brick and mortar, I would say firstly, think about your target audience. Then understand, when I'm moving online, what am I using that online touch point to engage the customer with? So it comes back to engagement. Again, the mobile is not just about buying. It could be about information sharing, understanding more from the consumer's perspective about campaigning. So as long as you are effectively channeling that engagement through that device, the sale can happen in either the physical or the online. So 1 is your engagement strategy, and 2 is to understand that technology can empower this shift. You want to be cost effective to use the physical outlets that you have to ensure that you're also fulfilling in a more efficient manner. You want to ensure that when you're engaging with the customer, there is a consistent experience from, for example, loyalty. If I shop in a physical store and I've purchased something and I have got points, I should then be able to redeem those points online. Now, if I don't, as a retailer, have a central visibility into my products, into my customers, how am I going to give that level of service to the consumer? So I would advise any physical brick-and-mortar chain or business to really consider how technology can empower your growth into the different channels. So for me, it really comes to business and technology as a marriage. It's not one or the other that's going to push the business to success. It is actually bringing all facets of different divisions to the same table to say, you know, this is what we're going to achieve. This is what we want each touch point to represent. And we bring the business vision and marry to technology to actually empower us to scale onto those different channels. So it is a combination of these two facets that will help the retailer to expand. And you must ensure that you're thinking of fulfillment at every single step, because again, I can't emphasize enough that it can be a really beautiful site, it can be a great experience, but if you let the customer down when it comes to a promise of delivery, there is a challenge there. So all of these are different building blocks that the business has to take into consideration. I'll give an example of a client of ours in India, one of the largest gifting and floral online retailers. Now, they have done such a fantastic model of collaboration with B2B vendors who fulfill their delivery, over 500 different independent businesses, that they can actually give midnight delivery of birthday cakes or flowers. So reaching out to such a vast population in such a vast number of cities, it really is about collaboration that's helped them to achieve that scale. So business technology, put them together, think about collaborating, and really engage with your consumers across the different channels. That's the advice I'd give to a physical retailer looking to expand across the online space.
Okay, so definitely mobile and definitely engagement
Yes,
as
absolutely.
spheres to look into.
Absolutely.
Emre, how do you think, again, coming from the business development side, looking at these engagement factors, at creating moments in kind of a shopping experience, how do you experience that in the Dogan group?
Well, I think it was mentioned before as well, like the consumer is everywhere, right? At any time, any point. So it's a challenge for .com businesses like ours. And I use .com as a very generic term right now because e-commerce businesses are no longer www.something.com, right? It's the website, it's mobile, I don't know, maybe Google Glass tomorrow, I don't know, maybe Samsung's going to come up with a new fridge that knows you're out of eggs and it's going to automatically order from us. We don't know, right? So
as long as they order from you, right?
As long as they order from us, yeah, of course. Because we can deliver. Yeah. We can deliver that promise. But we have to be ready to be platform agnostic. We don't know what the next customer platform is going to be. So our backbone systems, our technology, needs to be very much segregated from, not really tied into any specific platform specifically. Today it's mobile. There's always the argument about apps versus the mobile sites. Now even they're saying, look, the apps are going to go away. There'll be something new. It's going to be more virtual reality. It could be kiosks. It could be physical outlets. So basically, we e-commerce players are going to be the next generation retailers. That's really how we need to see ourselves. And the way we're trying to figure out where this next platform is going to be is just by looking at the data. I mean, just do the data analytics, see where the customers are moving towards, trying to model something out of it, and just try it, because no one knows. I don't think any one of us knows where the customers are going to be next. So we just have to be ready for it.
Right. And knowing that Hepsiburada is one of the strong Webtrekk clients, I have insights in Hepsiburada, of course, a bit from the analytics space, and I know that they're very strong on acting on data. How would you say is it with the whole Dogan group? How data-driven is the culture within this company?
I don't think any company is data-driven enough in the world? Because there's so much data out there that you kind of need to start asking the right questions first. So we started with more simple questions of, okay, what is it that our customers want that they can't find from us, right? Or what is it that our customers complain the most about us? And do more data analytics within that to figure out what the solution needs to be. So it's not necessarily, I don't think it would be too generic to say, oh yeah, we're data-driven, right? Not all our decisions are data-driven, because there may not be enough data for the question that you're asking. So but you need to make sure that you're more fact-based in some cases to prove certain hypotheses. And we are very much hypotheses-driven companies. Because I mean, it's not the same company that I was working last year. It definitely is not the same company I was working 2 years ago. It's changed. It is going to continue to change. It's just managing where that's going to go needs to have some sort of, I mean, data is our northern star, I would say.
Okay. Reshma, how much, as Emre said, how much fact-based or data-driven would you say are your existing clients, and how much do you have to educate them to become a data-driven culture?
So, you know, data is only as good as what you're going to do with it. So what we advise, what our clients do, is complement the different channels and the data that you can gather about your customer across. So again, let's say I've shopped online with a brand. I'm not happy with the product that's been delivered, and I'd like to go to the store to return it. So I go to the physical store now. If I'm greeted with a sales associate who, maybe on the entry of my email or my mobile, knows what I have purchased, is able to connect with me through the experience I've had from a different channel, I guarantee that the stickiness that I will have as a customer to that brand is far greater because of the experience that data was enabled to give me. So what we do is work on providing a central layer to the brands so that whatever touch point the customer is coming to that brand from, that data is aggregated and you empower the right, whether it's a sales associate on the shop floor, the call center agent, you empower them to connect with that customer within a matter of seconds. So that window of engaging the consumer and actually delighting them by shocking them sometimes at how well you were able to know what I have purchased with your brand, how effectively you're cross and upselling me based on my preferences. Data is extremely powerful to give that experience, and the main point is to provide yourself with a central layer that gives you a single view to the consumer, no matter which touch point they've come to the brand from. And the same way for the customer, they get a single view to the brand. Consistency of the message that the data they are seeing and receiving is providing them a story about the brand engagement. So data is extremely powerful, but what you do and how you aggregate that data is going to be the difference between that success or a missed opportunity.
Right. Do we have questions from the auditorium? Anybody raising his or her hand if there's a question? If not, I can tell that EB has a stand here, so you will be around for some hours. You will also be around at least some time.
Yes, of course.
So they're happy to connect. As a summary, my point of view would, as I tried to state in my presentation, acting on data and make sure you have the manpower to act on data. What would be your #1 advice to the audience saying, what is the really challenge and how can you manage the #1 thing?
Okay, #1, engagement.
Okay.
It has to come down to your strategy about engagement, whether you're purely physical, you're purely online, or you are a multi-channel or an omni-commerce model. Think about the engagement strategy and bring your different business divisions together to write out a common approach that what channel is going to focus on what strategy to the consumer. Engagement with the customer and consistency would be my #1 piece of advice.
Thank you. Emre?
I think in every business, every part of the business, every department, you need to have one of the primary metrics that you're going to extract from your data needs to be related to your customer. Even if it seems like they're not a customer touch point department, you need to make sure that there is a data point, a metric there that is related to customer satisfaction. Because in e-commerce is still a growth business, right? It still is a business where customers are unsure about a lot of everything. So we can't take customers for granted. I mean, there are certain industries that probably can still, but we have to be on our toes and make sure that we're measuring everything about the customer to understand, one, where they are right now and where they're going to be next.
So focusing on the customer, engaging with the customer, acting on customer data, I think it brings it down to focus, engage, and act. Both, or all the three of us, are verbs. So you need to do something. Go out there and do something. Very much. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for taking part, Reshma, Emre. Nice having you here, and enjoy the Webit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.